Hey everybody, I've been keeping an eye on the forecast and we have some cold weather coming up and it looks like we're not going to see temperatures above 40 until after Thanksgiving or right around Thanksgiving. And so I want to get some specific jobs done now. Well, the temperatures are still comfortable, might be a little breezy out, but hey, I can get a lot done with good weather. So there's two jobs I want to do. One is some spot watering and two is planting some bulbs for spring flowers. So I'll talk to you about the spot watering first because that might sound a little confusing. This time of year, we don't worry too much about watering our trees and our shrubs and our perennials and that type of thing. They tend to be just fine. However, I am going to go around and check on a few things. I'm going to be looking especially in areas that maybe are higher, things that might be in a sunny or windy area. And also I'm going to just take a quick look, but any area that I know gets a lot of water in the springtime or gets muddy in the springtime, I'm not going to worry too much about those spots. And the reason is that moist soil tends to be a better insulator than dry soil. So by making sure that the soil around it is nice and kind of damp right now, not sopping wet, not waterlogged, just a little bit of moisture in there is probably going to end up being a real positive for the plant throughout the winter, because we don't want it to dry out. When your roots dry out, that's when you get a lot of damage to the plant. The plant can really suffer, even die from that. So we're going to take a quick moment to kind of do some spot watering, and then I'm going to get to these bulbs. So I acquired these bulbs through Nicole over at Flower Hill Farm. She's a YouTuber that I follow. She's out of upstate New York, so she knows what it's like to grow in a really cold climate. And she had a partnership with, I think it's C&J Farms out of Washington State for various bulbs. And this is just the mystery mix. I have no idea what kind of daffodils these are going to be, but it's just a mix of different kinds. So I'm looking forward to what they're going to do in the spring. And then I was in Tractor Supply and they had a big discount going on some of their daffodils. So I thought I'm going to give them a go. Now, when I look at the size of the daffodils in here, they are significantly smaller than the ones that I got through Flower Hill Farm and C&J Farms. But also, I also realized that sometimes the variety of daffodil is going to determine the size of the bulb. So who knows? I'm just looking forward to seeing how they do next spring. And I've got my other equipment here. So here I'm using an auger for the first time, connected to a drill. We'll see how that goes. I am going to use a little bit of fertilizer. I don't have any of the bulb tone, but I do have some flower tone left over from during the season. So I'm going to use some of this. You don't need a really strong fertilizer for bulbs. So the numbers on this work out pretty well. They're all under 5. When you're looking at the 3 different numbers on it. So I'm going to give that one a go. So let's see what happens. Hopefully this goes well for me. So growing up, we always had daffodils and tulips, crocuses, hyacinths, all those kind of beautiful spring blooms, maybe even some snowdrops were tucked in there. Absolutely loved them. And last year I got a little bit on the bulb craze. I was in one of the stores and the bulbs were like 50 cents per bag. And so I bought tons and tons of tulips because that's all they had left and went crazy planting them all over the place. And lo and behold, just about every bulb that I planted, I think, came up last spring. So I was super excited and each one was getting their beautiful flower. And I swear the day before they were going to start opening, the deer came along and nipped the flowers off of every single tulip. And after that, I was like, I'm done with this. I am sticking to daffodils because the deer tend to leave them alone. In fact, daffodils are somewhat toxic to animals, so they tend to not bother them. The other advantage is that daffodils also naturalize. And by naturalize means that once you plant them, they tend to keep coming back every year. They spread, you're able to divide them. So they're just a really easy plant and they'll last for years and years and years. With tulips and some of the other plants, you might find that they kind of peter out after a certain amount of time, especially if you start using them as cut flowers. Then they just kind of don't flower again after that. Sometimes they do. They can be hit and miss, but daffodils, you can count on those. So I am looking forward to spring. I know that these daffodils are going to come up at a time when I really need a dose of color, and daffodils definitely provide that. I forget how quickly the sun goes down this time of year after daylight savings time. So I only had about a half hour and with setting up the camera, it took me a little longer than expected. So Half my daffodils are in. The auger was fantastic. That is such a quick way, so much faster than when I tried planting them last year. And normally I would put 2 bulbs in a hole, but those bulbs were so huge that I really, in most cases, only put 1, and I'm okay with that. Definitely ended up with dirty hands. Probably should have worn gloves, but whatever. Anyway, I hope you're getting everything ready for the winter. And I don't know, got a beautiful sunset this evening. It is actually darker than it looks right now. It was getting really hard for me to see. You can see the lights of the tractor right there. My dad is still out there putting the trees away for the winter and getting those healed in. We're going to keep working on all this stuff basically until the ground freezes. So a lot of people don't realize that even though we're closed to the public, there's plenty of things that keep us busy all year round. So anyway, that's all for now. Enjoy the last bits of good weather and stay warm this winter. And hey, I'll probably have some more videos. Just don't know what they'll be about yet. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.